These pioneering farmers have been hand-selected to take on innovative trials as part of the Leaf Net Zero project. This project is an inspiring collaboration of industry experts set up by the Co-op and Co-op Foundation's Carbon Innovation Fund and Chase Grove Funding to create change amongst our agricultural community, where farming works in harmony with nature instead of against it. The chosen farms have been measuring their carbon footprint to see where they are and what needs to change, and there have already been a few surprises along the way. And so this video tells their story so far.
Huntsback is split into three main divisions. So we have the growing operation, which is a national farming operation, growing about 4,000 acres of carousel passes up and down the UK from Norfolk to Inverness. We'll then have a packing operation, which is based here in Preston in Lancashire, where every product comes back to get washed, graded and packed. And then we also have our transport divisions.
This is a fairly traditional Cumbrian hill farm, runs to 110 acres but with grazing rights on the fell. We're predominantly sheep, but we do carry some cattle as well.
We farm here at Woodrow Barton, which is on the outskirts of Exeter. So we're all spring calving dairy.
Mostly cows out of grass.
So we are situated in northern Limpopo in South Africa. Our main crops are avocados, macadamias, pecans and timber as well.
It's just over 1,000 acres with 140 suckler cows, 330 red deer and about 50 hectares of arable. The whole farm has been organic since 2020.
What we're trying to do is to identify ways which we can go carbon negative in some areas, which can then compensate for the areas where we will struggle to go carbon negative. If we can try to get carbon negative on the farm and perhaps push on forwards with initiatives in the pack house, we can then get to a carbon neutral point for the entire business. We've looked at heat recovery, so we use a big bit of kit in the pack house called the hydro cooler, which takes field heat out of the product, using that to power the cold storage and also to heat the remaining facilities as well. We then had a 1.2 megawatt installation of a solar panel array on the roof, and then all the energy that we do use is sourced from renewable energy sources as well.
We get the land from different landowners. To follow on from previous crop is out of our control. We've experimented with various types of low carbon fertilisers, a byproduct from burning chicken litter in power stations, and so we take the ash and it replaces the P&K in the fields, and the other one is a product sprayed onto the leaf of the plant, and it allows the plant to capture nitrogen oxide from the air. The autonomous project is very much in its infancy. It's the first year that we've trialled it. Because it's such a lightweight machine, we could access some of the land at an earlier period. With regards to some of the fertiliser applications as well, we've used the robot to do that, and that's been more precise. Do your research and see if you can find ideas that fit for you. Not all the ideas have worked for us. When you find one that works, it's very rewarding.
We're tenant farmers, so everyone only has their patch of land for a finite amount of time, but I think it's even more apparent when you only have it for a defined tenancy period. You've got conscious that you want to leave the place better than in a better place than when you took it on. I think it's about leaving a legacy. I suppose the main motivation was that we should all be striving to be net zero, and we just wanted some help.
Chris has been down a few times, talked us through soil compaction and worked through soils with us. We've found a lot more problems than we'd ever envisaged, really. We've tried to manage the cows on and off grazing, not leaving them out too long and things like that.
It was good to do the agri-calc and have, you want to set your baseline, you want to know where you start from. We're generally both the people who sort of like something to see evidence that something's going to work, but we'll follow the evidence. When we went to put the solar panels on, we went for the biggest installation we could get.
We just thought we might not get the chance if more developments and go in.
We're really lucky. This farm has got amazingly big hedges, and we've got loads of apple orchards, and there is a lot of biodiversity inherently here from all of that. But we would like to hope by putting the whole farm to various grass lays of different types, and farming it with grazing cows and young stock, that that's actually improved things even more. I think people often just don't even try and do the things you could do. So every single thing that you can do, I think, is going to make a difference.
We were doing quite a lot of environmental works. The opportunity to join the Net Zero project, the Co-op project, were particularly important to us. They were all bits of jigsaw, but there's still 20% of the pieces are missing, and I need to get them in place as well.
Yeah, well, we've been working with Bob to see if we can together identify opportunities where we can incorporate trees onto the farm that might benefit both Bob's farm business, but also nature recovery, connectivity of habitats.
It's what a lot of people should be doing, because all we've done is basically take some waste areas out of grazing. We've done things with them. The early part of the year, lambing time, we've got so many mouths eating everything off as it grows. Once we've got things out to the fell, then we start to catch up on grass. One of the problems of that is that clover shouldn't be grazed too hard in the early part of the year. We're watching the clovers, and it's still surviving, and it's doing well, and it's doing the job it's supposed to, because it means we don't need to put fertilisers on. Permanent pasture holds a lot of carbon anyway. We had peat underlying probably all of the farm, but some fields in particular. That raised the question then, what do we do with the peat? How do we avoid damaging it in any way? And even better, actually sequestrate more carbon, but continuing to farm in a sensible way. This is, if you like, where leaf come in as well, because linking environment and farming is very much about putting the two things hand in hand. It can be done without prejudicing what you already do as a farmer.
In South Africa, there isn't quite the assistance that farmers would get like there is in the UK or the EU. So it's self-motivated. We've always been implementing integrated pest management. All our applications, fertilizer, chemicals, nutrients are really targeted. We're doing mulching around our young trees. We're doing soil samples, leaf samples regularly from all of our crops. We've got bat houses on the farm. Research suggests that it's a huge benefit for pest control. In the pack house, for example, we've named an electricity and water champion whose task it is to look for any wastages. We have other challenges as well. For example, our electricity grid, we often have power cuts, planned power cuts, because there isn't enough electricity in the country, so we have to have a lot of backup systems in place and run generators. All our power comes from coal plants. We don't really have the option to choose renewable energies. Solar plants, for example, for our farm, which is just quite impractical at this stage, and it would be a huge investment. We certainly learned a lot. Carbon footprints, carbon credits, the whole system, because it's quite a new area. We are going to integrate it into our business policy, reduce electricity and fuel consumption. The data that you need is data that you're already capturing on the farm.
The whole farm's changed to a lot lower input. It's virtually no inputs. There's a bit of lime and some minerals for the cows. There's not as much pressure on the bank balance with high inputs either. In 2018, we dispersed a whole flock of sheep, big problem with disease. And since then, our eyes have been open to the possibilities of what we can all do on this farm. We pretty much outwinter all our stock now, and so It's done with a system called bale grazing. Well, our deer, they've never had an antibiotic. Only half the calves get one wormer a year now, and that's the only chemical input into them at all. If there's nothing really going into them, there's nothing coming out of them onto the land, so it keeps the land a lot healthier as well. So I had a consultant came out, dug into our soils. They were pretty healthy, very little compaction there. Looked into different sort of inputs instead of lime in the form of gypsum. We're planting more hedges and there'll be some more trees, but we're still trying to find how to get to net zero without the need for trees. Like, trees are good, but we need the rest of the farm to get there on their own steam. Trying to inspire other farmers to do what we're doing because we can see the benefits of it.
Have a good look at your figures, question every decision with your farming. Try to make things simpler, try to make the farm as sustainable, profitable, enjoyable as we can, really, so that these our two daughters want to farm, but the farm's still here for them. Farming can have a lot of negativity sometimes, and we're striving to make it as positive as we can.